Before I start, I'm back from Europe. Jack is also back in Australia. We're both here. I'm not going to touch too much on Europe because it's always better to do that on our next episode together. But I essentially had 2 trips, I like to call it. First bit was with Jack. Maybe it was like 10 days, 8 to 10 days, I'd say. The second part of the trip was with my now fiance, Jess, which is very exciting. But me and Jack will touch further on that just to reflect on, what went down, all that exciting news. But it is, it is exciting. But I'm going to wait to talk about that with Jack whenever we get our next episode in. But this episode is all about Jimmy Butler. It's all about the NBA. I like jumping on here. And before I get onto that, let me know if you guys like me jumping on here and talking about NBA or just having these quickfire single episodes because I'm enjoying it. But if you guys are getting nothing from it, actually I don't really care. I'm just going to keep doing it. So the NBA playoffs are going on right now. 4 teams left. Eastern Conference Finals is Miami versus Boston. Western is Denver versus Lakers. Miami are currently up 2-0. I don't think anyone expected them to be 2-0 up against Boston because Boston were kind of like the favorites jumping in. But who cares? Miami are up. Who knows what's going to happen in these playoffs? And Denver are also up 3-0 against Lakers. But I just want to talk about Jimmy Butler. There's something that goes on as soon as the playoffs come along, as soon as those bright lights come up. He just turns into a different player. He's a different beast out there. I don't know what it is. It's like regular season. Everybody knows that the NBA season is long. It's 82 games. It's hard to stay even engaged and locked in as a fan, let alone the player. I can't imagine what that's like. But even as a fan, you can't really stay locked in truly unless you're a diehard fan to even your team, let alone the whole league for that long. Even though I do my best. Playoff time. Jimmy Butler. It's always annoying when people kind of overreact to maybe 1 or 2 games or recency bias. That stuff, but Jimmy Butler might be the greatest, one of the greatest players I've seen once he plays playoffs because something just flicks over. And it's really cool to see, his game's great, his press conferences are great, it's almost one of my favorite things, to be honest, even though that sounds funny because, people are probably tuning in more for the basketball side of things, but as soon as, Bleacher Report, NBA, something pops up on my phone that says Jimmy Butler said something at a press conference, I'm clicking on that thing, and there's not too many players like that in any league that are you just love the personality. You love what they have to say. He's easily one of my favorite players to watch in the playoff setting. There's just his competitiveness is probably the main part. He's intense, and he's so intense it's probably caused divide between recent teammates, recent teams. He left Philly, he left Minnesota. He's left a few teams where people there's rumors about him getting along with players, him being the cause of the departure, even though you never know. But I love the man. From what I've seen, I love the guy. I love his attitude. He's intense. It works. He just has to find the right situation. And I tell you, if Miami can actually go on to win this thing, it will have to be one of the all-time sort of wins if you look at their roster, which I'll touch on a bit later on. But Jimmy Butler, one of the most recent events is him and Grant Williams. So game 2. Boston Celtics, Miami are up 2-0. Grant Williams is a bench player, role player, but he's kind of he has had some big moments in previous playoffs and hit a big shot, I think yesterday or the day before. But anyway, Grant Williams and Jimmy Butler got into it a bit after an and-1 from Jimmy. Let's just say one player got the better of the other one after those events.
Williams defends Butler. A bump, the grind, the gyration, and the 2 in the foul.
And they're having words. Look at this.
Nose to nose. Eye to eye.
After that 3 by Grant Williams, he was having words with Jimmy Butler on the way down. Here's the dish by Brown, and here's the shot made by Williams. And look at the words already. Williams and Jimmy Butler are smiling about it. And then here's the contact at the ensuing play. And let's go head-to-head, guys.
People always say don't poke the bear. And to me, that's exactly what happened.
Be careful when you poke the bear now. Jimmy Butler's going to have his hands on the ball all the time, right?
One of Jimmy's teammates even said sometimes he does those things intentionally to get himself fired up or to get himself more involved. And hey, it looks like that's what happened in this event.
This is what he wants.
Inside for the lead. He got it.
That's what he wants. Grant Williams on him.
The Celtics are going to have to come in double.
Absolutely going at Grant Williams. Once again, the Butler did it.
Jimmy and Miami went on a run. They won that game. As I said, they're up 2-0. But it's just very enjoyable to watch. It's very enjoyable to sort of like see the storylines and see the press conferences, the post-game grabs. Speaking of post-game grabs, here's what Jimmy had to say after the game.
You gotta tell me what was going on between you and Grant Williams.
Some healthy competition. I ain't gonna lie to you, healthy competition, and I love it. I'm always here to compete. I like to talk at times. As long as we get the win, I'm good with it, though.
We'll see you in Miami, Jimmy.
Oh, yeah.
What do you think?
Can we just talk about how clearly the audio was captured from this as well?
I thought he was the answer. Come on. That's your answer to the problem. That's the answer. That's the answer to the problem. Come on. That can't be the answer.
I love moments like this. I love when, whether it's like iPhone footage, phone footage, or whether it's a proper camera picking up audio and insight from the player, which I think the broadcast actually did pick this up as well. But the commentators were talking over it. So it was just like, this is the much better version to listen from. But Jimmy Butler was basically saying out loud, saying very confidently and, what's the word? Transparent. He's being very transparent about it for anyone listening, and we were all listening. The whole world was watching. He's basically just saying like what Boston thought Grant Williams was the answer for me, and I kind of love how he refers to himself as like in third person, the answer for Jimmy Butler. It's great. It's great, and confidence is what gets these players as far as they are at, and as far as they will go. He was just saying there's no way they thought Grant Williams was the answer, which was a great soundbite. But hey, at the end of the day, actually both Grant and Jimmy seemed like they disrespected one another.
That's just competition at its finest. He hit a big shot. Started talking to me. I like that. I'm all for that. It makes me key in a lot more. And it pushes that will that I have to win a lot more. And it makes me smile. It does. When people talk to me, I'm like, okay, I know I'm a decent player if you want to talk to me out of everybody that you can talk to. I do respect him, though. I just don't know if I'm the best person to talk to.
I think he said something and I just responded. You know, for me, I'm a competitor. I'm going to battle. He got the best of me tonight, and at the end of the day, it's out of respect because I'm not going to run away from it. My mom always taught me that and my dad as well, you get your ass kicked. You don't come back home until you come battle again. And if you either come back before you die or you go back and you go get a win. And I'm not willing to die in this finals. I'm ready to get a win, ready to come back and come in the game through with a better mentality. I know this team is as well.
It was no like bad blood. I think they both love the competitive fire in the other one. And it probably brings out the best in both of them. Of course, Jimmy seems to get the win here on this individual occasion. But I don't think any of those guys are going to stop doing that. And they shouldn't. It's some of the times it happens a lot with Draymond Green. People question whether it's actually a good tactic for that person if they get emotionally invested into the game or too emotionally invested. But for both of these guys, especially on Jimmy's side, I think it works perfectly for him and it works great. And us fans love it. It was also funny, like reporters being reporters and journalists being journalists. They're going to ask people's, Jimmy's and Grant's teammates about this. And one Boston reporter, or a reporter in the Boston press conference asked Jaylen Brown, what do you think of that? And yeah, here's what Jaylen Brown had to say.
Did Grant Williams make a mistake poking the bear with Jimmy Butler? Next question.
It's amusing, isn't it? This whole thing reminds me of, I think it was like last series when the Miami Heat beat Milwaukee, and Drew Holiday, by all accounts, I reckon he's just like one of the nicest guys in the league. That's how he comes across. And Jimmy was just like going at him like there's a clip. He's just like running around the court saying, I own you to Drew Holiday. And Drew Holiday's just like, just sort of questioning it like you own me and whatnot. And I just love when Jimmy seems to do it a lot clearly. But yeah, he's just sort of saying what he thinks of that matchup, even though Drew comes across as a lovely dude. But it doesn't matter. Something I've come to realize, people say players have the dog in them, but when players have a bit of asshole in them, I like that. I don't know. There's something about it. There's something in them just being a bit of a prick on the inside or on the outside. They'll probably show it off occasionally, like show your true colors, but it works. That's what being a competitor is. And Jimmy is certainly an asshole. I think that came off the back of Drew Holiday was just basically saying that Jimmy's predictable, like his game's predictable, which it is kind of funny, like how dominant Jimmy can be, and he's just like people kind of know what he's gonna do. Like it's that mid range, it's that sort of bully ball tactics. It's basically just playing basketball like he knows his strengths. It's kind of like simple basketball. It's not highlight worthy basketball, but people can't stop him. Even like people like some of the best defenders in the world, like Drew Holiday, they can't stop him. So why mix up your game? People talk about his three ball sometimes, but he can make them. He can do it. Combine the asshole of Jimmy, combine the competitive fire, combine all the elements that Jimmy is. He's easily one of my favorite personalities in the league. As I said before, there's not too many people where you're gonna like want to sit down and watch press conferences of. Once you see his name and his big face coffee brand merchandise pop up on the like YouTube or whatever, he's always a good listen. Anyway, it's all about team fit, and Jimmy had these cool lines about what Miami think of him and how at home and how much confidence he gets from the Miami players and organization.
And I think that's what any basketball player wants. That's what anybody wants out of life, is just to be wanted, be appreciated, and just let you go out there and rock.
To finish off this Jimmy Love Fest, it's funny. As I was watching this clip coming up, and he's basically just saying he doesn't care what anyone thinks, and he doesn't care if anyone predicts Boston to win it all or beat them in the series, or if nobody is rooting for Miami, full stop. So this whole episode, Jimmy doesn't actually care what I think, but he's got my attention, and I love it anyway. So take a listen.
Did you think then that something like this would be possible?
Damn right. I did. Damn right, we did. And the best part about it is we still don't care what none of y'all think. Honestly speaking, we don't care if you pick us to win. We never have. We never will.
Off of the back of that, it's funny. Like you look at Miami's lineup, and with all due respect, they are not headline names. Like you got Jimmy Butler, you got Kevin Love. People know Kevin Love, but he's past his best. People know that. People know Kyle Lowry, but he's past his best. That's pretty obvious, even though their presence would go well beyond whatever the hell they put on the box score that night. But it's really cool, like just to look at their roster, like their starting lineup. Gabe Vincent, Tyler Hero's out. He's like their third best player. Bam Adebayo, like up and coming star. People value him, but if you're a quote unquote casual NBA fan and you look at Miami's roster, their starting lineup, even their bench, I don't think people are going to know too many names on their roster, which just goes to show what Jimmy, what Bam, what the other guys are doing, and and Butler's leading from the front in all terms. All right, I thought I'd introduce my own little segment. Hey, if this sounds good, if it sounds like it comes across well or whatever, if people actually care, I'm gonna leave it in. But if not, I'll just have to do a separate outro by itself. But like tweets, because I just like talking the game. I just like talking basketball, especially NBA, especially NBL. You know, we talk about NBL, but this is a way to get NBA stuff out there, college stuff out there, and I just like talking the game. So hopefully someone out there gets something from this, but I thought a good way of summarizing it would be to go through my liked tweets essentially, and just like that will create topics in itself. But super quick, if you've made it this far, thanks. Great job. I appreciate that. But anyway, off we go. Alright, so I'm just going to roll through some tweets. I don't care. We'll make them quick. Adam Ballinger, former NBL player, Adam Ballinger. If anyone hasn't seen his artwork, does a lot of basketball-related things. Super good. Super good. He's currently got an MJ1 in the works. He does like sort of work-in-progress shots. I believe this one's actually for the brand Dunk.com, which a good friend of mine, Mike, works there. That's funny. It's not working. It's his side brand. I'm going to say he works there. He founded the brand. So go check out Dunk.com. Go check out Adam Ballinger. WNBA. I love people that hype up WNBA because a lot of my feed is mostly NBA stuff. I'm trying to get more into it. So many Aussies this year. Jade Melbourne specifically is pretty much, I'm going to say it, I'm a Seattle Storm fan since 3 days ago mainly because of Jade Melbourne. Loved what she's done in the WNBL. Loved what she's done in NBL 1. Just following her journey. We had her on the podcast with Annalie Mailey. I helped run that at the NBL. Great. Just big fan of her on and off the court now that I've met her in person. She's superb, so she's converted me to be a Seattle Storm fan. I'll follow them. They had a rough loss yesterday. Anyway, lots of Aussies playing Kayla George. All them. Go check out the WNBA. Oh, and speaking of, League Pass for them is only $25, I believe, a month. And I don't know what I'm paying for NBA a month or what it is a year, but that's a ridiculous price. Actually, I don't. I could be wildly off. If I'm correct, $25 a year. Is that true? That's crazy. Damn, that's crazy. $25 a year? Someone back me up on that. Anyway. Oh, Victor Wembanyama, the French 7'11". Nah, he's probably like 7'5", but I don't know what he is. It's crazy. But anyway, he's projected. He will be the number 1 pick in next year's NBA draft. But there's been a lot of hype around him. People are saying, like, is he the most hyped up prospect ever? And Damian Lillard doesn't think so. I don't, like, it's hard because the social media, it's changed. It's developed so much over the past 10, 20, 30 years that if you're comparing this era to any other era, it's hard because social media is just crazy right now, and it wasn't however many years ago. People are saying, is he the most overhyped? Overhyped. There you go. I'm just naming him as overhyped already. Anyway, is he the most hyped up prospect? Obviously, people are gonna say LeBron is. And Damian Lillard just tweeted, I was in 7th grade when they was hyping up Bron on ESPN. MF, still at the top 20 years later. Stop playing with dude, bruh. It's getting out of pocket. That's just how he's tweeting. I'm not trying to talk like that for any reason. I don't actually use that vocabulary. But I gotta agree. It's different. As I said, the social media thing, especially, it's crazy these days. But it'll be super interesting where Victor goes. Spurs have the first pick, so we assume he goes there, which is great because, Spurs have that French/international background with Tony Parker and Manu Ginobili and all those names, Boris Diaw. So it seems like a perfect fit, I'm going to say. Oh, I should have flowed this in with the other WNBA comment. But here's a stat from Alex Basil, NBA trainer, through the lens. Go check out that one. That little brand that a few of the guys are on there. Anyway, Alex Basil said, of the 2021 WNBA draft, only 5 first-rounders are still in the league. That's pretty wild. Read that out again. Of the 2021 WNBA draft, only 5 first-rounders are still in the league. WNBA is known to be cutthroat. Like it's not like the NBA. They let you develop in the NBA. They give you seasons on seasons where you can just slowly develop or improve your game, and then it's like, bam, all right, it's time to show yourself. WNBA just seems to be like, if you're young, and shout out Jade Melbourne. She's like the youngest in the WNBA at the moment, which is super cool. Anyway, if you're young, I feel like WNBA, I don't know, send you overseas, delist you. There's been a fair few things that come up lately about the talent that's been delisted. I'm using a footy term there, but whatever. Not signed. Let go. Quit. Fired. Anyway. And to add to that, Alex said picks 1, 4, and 5 have all been cut. Only pick number 1 made it past year 1. That's crazy. Anyway, that was it. I hope you like tweets. What a segment. I actually quite enjoyed that. But, just going through the topics, and it's a good way of, reshelving these things and speaking a bit on it. But as I said at the start of the app, DM me, dude, DM shooters. Send me a message on there. Me, DJB Darren on Instagram. If you actually like these things, if you get anything from these episodes, because I like doing it. But I want to know if anyone does too. And if not, tell me what I'm doing wrong. Tell me what I'm doing well. Tell me what I'm doing wrong. What you'd like to see, maybe. Anyway, until next time. I just think Jack's, I don't know where Jack is in Australia right now. I think he's gone a little, what am I saying? He's gone a little holiday in Darwin, I'm pretty sure. Oh, well, we'll see. Okay. Bye-bye.
And the best part about it is we still don't care what none of y'all think.